Hey, it's Kyle Meredith, and welcome to another edition of Kyle Meredith With, an audio interview series presented by WFPK Independent Louisville and Consequence of Sound. Today, I'm talking with Kiaran Crook of the band the Sherlocks. Their debut record, Live for the Moment, was released just last year and became one of the fastest-selling debut records ever in the history of UK music, even debuting at number 6 on the charts. We got to talk about their rapid-fire success and a few notes behind some of the songs, as well as what it's like been touring with Liam Gallagher of Oasis. It's Kyle Meredith with the Sherlocks. Pleasure to talk to you, man.
Yes, likewise.
Well, I want to get into this because this debut record, Live for the Moment, first off, the compliments, it's a lot of fun to listen to. It's really nice to hear a big rock record again.
Thank you.
I know a lot of the states are still getting, used to you, still discovering who you are, but I mean, this record's been out a little while now. As the story goes, you actually entered number 6 on the UK charts on a debut.
Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy, right?
It is, yeah. If I'm being honest, we never really expected to do as well as what we did with his debut. We always feel a little bit like the underdog sort of thing. We'd just be happy if we managed to scrape a top 10, but as it went, we ended up with a better than a top 10 really, because it was like number 6. So it's not as if we just scraped in. So we were over the moon with that. So really pleased with how it went down.
I mean, I did have doubts that the current generation cared much for straight ahead rock and roll, but I feel like I'm wrong. I mean, does this kind of solve that problem, that question right there? Does it answer that?
Yeah, definitely. It shows that there's people still into that kind of music and supporting it. Guitar bands, and there's always been them kind of people out there. Guitar music's always been a thing. I think it always will be a thing. It just seems to come in waves with its popularity. But I definitely feel like it's coming back, and we're going to be one of them bands that's bringing it back.
So I know you're not a new band. I mean, this might be the debut record, but you've been a band for 7 years, right? 7 or 8 years, somewhere around there.
Yeah, pretty much. Like I think you get into a routine of saying a certain number of years, and you don't actually realise how time's flying by. So it's probably coming up to 8 years now.
What were the unknown years like? Because again, you're a new band to a lot of the folks over here. Like, when was it sort of just playful versus when it turned serious?
Well, I think we started in 2010 or 2011, and that was just literally just out of boredom, to be honest with you. Like we used to, me and Brandon are brothers, the drummer, and the other two are brothers, and they moved really close to where me and Brandon live, and it's pretty quiet where we live anyway. So like in no time at all, we started playing football together and stuff. And then the legend has it, we lost us football one day, so we just started messing around on his instruments, just for fun. And there was never a time where we said, do you want to start a band? We just started doing that. And then before you know it, we were playing like in a garage every day, just for something to do, and it was fun. And then we moved on to like booking a couple of gigs in pubs and clubs, did that for like 2 or 3 years, and then started trying to write his own music and his own songs, and then started mixing that set up in the pubs and clubs, like chucking a couple of his own songs in. And then we just took a chance and just said, like, let's have a crack at his own music. So like started putting on his own gigs where we'd just be playing solely his own music, and things have been going well.
So those first gigs, was that mostly just covers and such?
Yeah, like purely just covers in like working men's clubs and little pubs and stuff. And we used to just learn like the Beatles and the Rolling Stones, and then like the Killers, and just stuff that like you'd expect, really. The Clash.
I've heard you guys talk about Stereophonics being a favorite band too, which is one of my favorite bands. But I remember that's sort of their story. That it's really close to echoes their story of being a cover band, which really helped them learn how to write songs. I don't know if it worked the same way with you. Like by the time you got around to originals, like you sort of had the foundation of how to do it, right?
100%, yeah. Not just writing songs, but like literally like learning his instruments. Like I feel like them first few years where we were playing covers and stuff, that literally enabled us to learn how to play his instruments, because we weren't very good. I mean, we're still not very good now, but and a few years ago, we literally couldn't even play, when we first started, we couldn't even play as instruments. Like, we were shocking, just like any new band is.
Mm-hmm.
So playing them cover gigs, we learned how to play his instruments a little bit better. So by the time we were writing his own music, we could string a couple of chords together. And I think that, like you said, that definitely helped us be able to write songs, because after playing other people's songs for a few years, you start to learn what a song is or how to structure a song and stuff. And we're still learning how to do that now, like looking at new ways how to structure a song and stuff, and you get better at it. But I think by starting out as a cover band, it's helped us in the long run.
Now, how have any of those early original songs stood the test of time? Have they made it? Did they make it onto this record?
Live for the Moment, which is obviously like quite an important tune, seeing as we've named his album after it.
Right.
That was like an early song, to be honest. That was like one of the first. That's a big reason why we wanted to call his album Live for the Moment, just as a bit of a nod to all the fans that are stuck with us, and I suppose it's as roots, really. Like, that's how we started out, that song. Like, that was one of the first tunes, so it's just a nod to that, really. So yeah, that managed to get on the album, and that was an early song.
It's really impressive, when it's your first original songs and it ends up being part of something, because again, it's a solid record all the way through. I look at a track like Nobody Knows. There's a line in there where you actually say, it's us against the world. And I wondered, like, is this the band anthem? Was it written sort of with that in mind?
It's funny you said that, because Nobody Knows is actually my favourite song on the album. And I've been asked that question before, like, what's your favourite lyric? And can you write it down for me and sign it or whatever? And I'd never been asked that before, and I thought, what is my favourite lyric? But I ended up writing down that, like, is it still us against the world? So it's weird that you said that. But yeah, like, it feels like an anthem to me. I mean, it's not his most well-known song, and it's not a single. So out of all the album tunes, that's like I feel like it's a bit of a hidden gem. And to anyone who's a fan of our band previous to the album coming out, then I feel like when they got the album and they stumbled across Nobody Knows and they could hear it in its full, then I feel like that's a strong song. It's like I say, it's my favourite song.
Well, it definitely, I mean, just the way it plays and, sort of the placement in the album too, because I know it's right there in the middle, kind of almost making it, the literal centerpiece. But it feels like it says everything that you want to say about this band and the song. Like, whether or not it's a single or anything, it sounds like a mantra, if nothing else.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of what it's about, and it's about feeling like an underdog and all. It's basically about when we started getting management and getting a label and getting all these people around us, like where we're from, you're not used to people patting you on the back and saying you're doing well and stuff like that. And as this band's gone on and you surround yourself with more people, you get a lot more people saying, just like telling you you're doing well all the time, but like some people are not being honest. They're just saying that for the sake of it, sort of thing. Just like blowing smoke, like saying, oh yeah, really good. And we're just not into that. Like, where we come from, it's like very straight talking. And if you hadn't done a good show, we'd sooner have people who are around us that had said, no, you didn't play well tonight. Like, that were a bad show. So we're very much for like the honesty, like just being realistic and being honest to us. So the song's about that, and meeting new people and realizing all these people or a lot of these people just say you're doing well for the sake of it, and not being just creeping around you. So that's what the song's about, really. But we decided to stick it halfway, just purely out of how the song turned out in the studio. It ended up being the longest track on the album, and it seemed like a good. There were only two places that song were going to end up. We were going to either end the album on that song, or it were going to go halfway before. Thinking in like a vinyl sense, before you have to flip the vinyl over. So, but it ended up going halfway.
There's another sort of societal study on here, at least the way I read it, in Chasing Shadows. And I'll hit on a lyric again where you say everybody lives to work, or do they work to live? Because now that you're in the game, now that you're getting paid, now that this is a job and a career, I know with most artists, there's always that feeling in the back of your mind, how long can this last? And I don't know, did that play into that at all? Or, because you look out there and you see everyone that, doesn't get to enjoy what they do on a daily basis.
Well, that's definitely where the lyric came from. Like, I mean, I'm fortunate enough to have say I've never really had a proper job. Like, as far as my jobs, I had a paper round a few years ago, but luckily, like, how the band's been going, I've been fairly busy with a band from like a young age, so I've never actually had a proper job as such, but I've seen people around me and people I went to school with are now in like they've just gone like the usual route and ended up in like a 9 to 5 job. And I never imagined, even though I've never had a job, I sort of always knew. I don't know, I've just always had that feeling that this isn't for me. Like, I can't see myself getting a normal job. Like, I just feel like there's more to offer than just getting a normal job at McDonald's or whatever. I've always felt like we can make something out of this. And that only started coming a little bit true once we started playing his own shows and that. And I thought we can have a good go at this and not just get normal jobs. We can, and now we're lucky enough to say this is our job, but we don't treat it. We treat it like a party sometimes, but we never take his eye off the ball because we understand that a few wrong moves or if you lose that buzz that we've generated, then there's only so long in this industry you've got to keep relevant.
It's put you on some great moments here. I know you've got to play with some heroes already. You just came off the road with Liam Gallagher. I mean, that must have been a trip because I can hear some Oasis somewhere in your sound. That you must have been. I'm guessing you were fans of them.
Yeah, massive. Yeah, I mean, we draw inspiration and ideas from as many bands as we can. Really, I think it helps having a nice wide choice of bands to listen to rather than just listening to a few bands. Why not listen to as much as you can? And a good song's a good song, no matter who's wrote it. So as far as that's concerned, we listen to as much as we can. But Oasis have definitely always, I think with a band like Oasis, they're that big, you can't possibly escape hearing some of them songs because they're just huge band, or they were a huge band, and like what they achieved were just insane when you think of some of the gigs they did. So that's definitely helped, and there probably is a little bit of Oasis in our sound in certain parts and certain songs. But yeah, going on the road with Liam is a top man, really funny. And to do a full tour with him, to be honest, we've never, the big artists that we've supported in the past, like Kings of Leon or the Libertines, we've only ever done like a couple of shows, whereas this was like a full tour, so that were really nice to do. I've
got a quote on you from an interview where you said, we want to be one of the biggest bands in the world if we can, and which, is a great thing to aspire to. And I remember Noel and Liam saying those things, and they did it. They set out to do that, and they did it. And like, I don't know, were you able to take some notes from him? Did you come off with anything learned from being on the road with, one of the most successful musicians to come out of the UK?
Well, we've always been brought up, certainly me and Brandon, from our family, we've always been brought up with that saying of, like, if you aim high and you don't quite get to where you want to go, then it still might end up good. Whereas if you've got no aspirations or set yourself bars to try and reach, and you just go through life not setting yourself targets, then you're probably going to end up pretty low. We kept that going through the band. So like, as soon as we started doing the band, why not try and be the biggest band in the world, or why not try and aim to play stadiums eventually? Like, and some bands would be quite happy just playing like certain size venues and think this is perfect for us. But if we get to stadiums, that's where we want to be. And as far as being on tour with Liam and stuff, he's pretty kept away, Liam, anyway. Like, he's like there and then he's not, sort of thing. He's like, he'll do a sound check and then you turn around next minute and he's not there, like wherever he's gone. And then like 20 minutes before he's actually due on stage, probably not even that, like 15 minutes before he's on stage, you might see him, a glimpse of him, and it's like, oh, he's here. Like, so he's just kept out of the way. But like, after speaking to him, you just get the vibe that if there were any tip that we got from him, just enjoy it, which might seem like an obvious thing or something you'd expect him to say, but like, it's something that a lot of people or a lot of bands probably do forget to do. Like, you've got to make sure you're still enjoying it, or else you need to like sort of take a look at yourself and think, why are we actually doing it? Like, the main reason should be about having fun and having a good time, and that's what I got from like the time we spent with Liam. That he looks at us as like, I'm not sure how old he is, but like he's obviously looking at us as a young group of lads and thinking, like, you never know what you've got in front of you, so enjoy yourself.
Yeah, I will ask the obvious question. Liam being in a band with a brother that turned out horribly. Although I can name other bands that it works. The National have 2 sets of brothers, quite like you all.
Yeah.
And that works well. Have you done your homework to at least know what the pratfalls of that can be?
I mean, obviously, like, before the band even started, like, I've obviously had fights with my brother, like, a number of times. And I've won a fair few and lost a fair few, but let's just say, for the record, I've won more than I've lost. Try and make me sound a bit harder than what I am.
Uh-huh.
But I mean, at the minute, like, I'm 22 and he's like 24 or 25, so it's time to like start growing up a little bit. And we don't really get into that. Like, at the minute, we're going through a bit of it's not so much a rough patch. It's like it's the opposite. Like, we've been all right at the minute, so we don't really fight too much these days. I don't know, you got to learn what buttons not to push with each other. And it's same with the other 2 lads in the band. It's like, you've got to realise you're a group of lads and you're not all going to have the same opinion. So it's just, I don't know, it's one of them, innit? I don't know. Usually we're not too bad. I mean, we have us fallouts now and again, but most of the time it don't get too serious. You just brush it off.
It's a smart thing. I mean, it sounds like you guys have a good head on your shoulders about all of that, which is promising. Like I said, for this being the debut record, it's a great debut record to come out swinging with. So I congratulate you again on all that. And I hear you're already sort of working on the second record. That's exciting. I mean, how far along are you? Are you already planning the studio at this point?
Yeah, well, we're like, a minute, we've got a couple of weeks off. I mean, we've had quite a few weeks off recently, but I think we've got another couple of weeks before we come to US. But yeah, at the minute, just writing every day. And there's plenty of songs knocking about. I mean, you could even say we've got like a second album now, but I always try and, like, I'm not one of them that writes a million songs or, like, I don't know, writes 100 songs just for one album. Like, I don't know, like, when people say, oh, write more and just write loads, but like that don't always work for me. I'd sooner write less songs but write good songs. I'd sooner write 15 really good songs and go into the studio with 15 top songs and then record them and then whittle it down to whatever you decide is going to be your album. So it might be like 11 songs or 10 or 12 or whatever, rather than writing 80 songs that have been wrote in 2 minutes and they're just shocking. So I'm always against that. Like, for the first album, I didn't write that many songs, and we picked 15 songs to go into record, and we recorded them all and ended up choosing 12. So as far as this second album, there's plenty wrote, and I'm continuing to write every day and getting ideas down. And we're spending a lot of time in practice room at the minute, and things are sounding good. Things sound fresh, to be honest. Like, we listen to our album just like anyone else does, and we're very, like, critical about it. There's certain things we want to achieve on this next album which we didn't quite cover on the first album. So it'd be nice when people eventually hear it and it sounds fresh. Some good stuff on it.
I look forward to it, Kiaran, and it's been a pleasure talking to you today. Again, we'll look forward to having you over here in the U.S. for the tour, and look forward to more music when it rolls around, man.
Definitely, yeah. It's been nice chatting to you, mate.
All right, you take care, and we'll see you down the road.
Yep, thank you very much.
All right.
Nice one.
Bye.
See you later, mate. Bye.
Hey, thanks to Kiaran from the Sherlocks for giving me the call today. The new record is Live for the Moment, currently available. Hey, don't forget to subscribe to Consequence of Sound's YouTube channel to keep up with your favorite artists and interviews, and WFPK.org. That's where I do a show every Monday through Thursday from noon to 3 Eastern. I'm Kyle Meredith. I'll see you next time.